This video is going to focus on solving absolute value equations, where we have an equation with an absolute value of a variable involved. And there's a lot of concepts that we really need to understand. In solving an equation, that means get the x by itself, meaning what value of x would make this true. And the mathematical method we did was basically to undo the equation, get rid of everything on the same side as the x. So here's my equal sign. Everything that's over on this side, I need to get rid of except for the x. So I have to get rid of the 7, I have to get rid of the 3 and the 2, and the absolute value sign. That's the part that people kind of mess up on sometimes. So the steps to do that, first I want to get rid of this 7. So to do that, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Plus 7 plus 7. And this minus -7 plus 7 will cancel. And I'll get absolute value of 2x minus 3 equals 29. And at this point, I have to get rid of the absolute value sign. What a lot of students do is they'll just start doing 2x minus, they'll add 3 and then divide by 2 and get one answer, which is true for part of it, but it's not the whole thing. So basically what we're saying is this entire thing inside of here, this entire expression could be the same thing as 29. If that, what I circled, equaled 29, that would be a true statement. But also, if what I circled equaled -29, if that were equal to -29, when I took the absolute value, it would become positive 29. So there's two possibilities. Either 2x minus 3 equals 29, or 2x minus 3 equals -29. Either one of those would give us a correct solution, because if 2x minus 3, that whole mess here, were equal to -29, it would still work. So now what I've done is taken a complicated new problem and turned it into an old problem that we learned a couple of years ago. So the steps now are what we did to solve an equation. First, we're going to add 3 to both sides, and that's going to give us 2x, these will cancel, 2x equals 32, divide by 2, x equals 16. That's one solution. And then I go over here, and I'm going to say plus 3, and that's going to cancel, and I'm going to say 2x equals -26, divide by 2, x equals -13. So those are my two solutions. Now, I really should check to make sure they work, and I'll do that right now. Let's look at that, and I'll say 16 in here. 2 times 16 is 32. 32 minus 3 is 29. The absolute value of 29 is 29. 29 minus 7, 22. That works. If I put -13 in here, 2 times -13 is -26. -26 minus 3 is -29. The absolute value of -29 is positive 29. 29 minus 7 is 22, so it works for both numbers. All right, and this next problem here, it's a little tricky because I got an x over here, but it's still the same principle. Again, if this entire thing inside of here were equal to exactly what 2x is, it would be a true statement. Or what's inside of here could equal to the opposite of 2x. Because when I take the absolute value, that would work. Now, there's sometimes we're going to see a situation where it might not work, and this is what's going to happen. We're going to write x minus 3 equals 2x, and x minus 3 equals -2x. So I want you to notice that I didn't have to do a first term. In this problem over here, we had to first get rid of the 7, because this writing the two equations, it can be done only when the absolute value is isolated. There's nothing else on this side of the equation except for the absolute value. So I have two different equations. What I'm going to do is solve them. So this one here, I'll solve this by subtracting x. I want all the x's on one side of the equation, minus x. So -3 equals 2x minus x is x. So that's one possible solution. Notice I said possible. We'll figure it out later. And then in this one, when I do that, if I subtract x from both sides, I got -3 equals -3x. Then I divide by negative 3. And I got 1 equals x. So that's the solution as well. Now I have two solutions, but before I just go ahead and put those as my answers, I want to check them, just like I did the last one. And you specifically want to check when you have an unabsolute valued x somewhere in here, like this. Because when I put negative 3 in here, let's check for negative 3. That would be absolute value of negative 3 minus 3 equals 2 times negative 3. And that becomes absolute value of negative 6 equals negative 6. But that's not true because the absolute value of negative 6 is positive 6 equals negative 6, and the answer is no, it doesn't. So this is not a solution. There's a word for that. That's what we call an extraneous solution. An extraneous solution is a solution to the second part of the problem, basically. It's a solution to the modified that doesn't fit in the original equation. So when we do this one over here, maybe one doesn't fit. We haven't checked that one yet. We're going to check that right now. Absolute value of 1 minus 3 equals 2 times 1. So absolute value of negative 2 equals 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. 2 equals 2, that does work. So 1 is our only solution for this problem.